Hi, Stephan Kesting from grapplearts.com. How do you stop headbutts in the guard? This is a question I got asked recently by somebody whose emphasis in doing jiu-jitsu was more on self-defense. It's a totally valid question. Back in the old days of MMA, back when we were watching it in the 80s and 90s, you would see guys who would be using their head as a weapon to win fights. It was pretty common to do stuff like this. By the way, thank you to Richie for helping out today. Block the one bicep, block the other bicep, come up and headbutt down the middle. Either the old forehead to chin headbutt, or using the top of the head and coming in like that repeatedly. I believe there are even some guys who won fights based on block bicep, headbutt repeatedly until unconsciousness resulted, or the guy was so beaten up that he could basically do whatever else he wanted. So, you've ended up in the guard. We're going to take the closed guard, because it's mostly a problem with the closed guard, and you're worried about headbutts. So, the best situation for me is where I can generate a lot of momentum and not have them block it. So, bicep, and then down the middle. So, Richie has to not let me get bicep and bicep. So he's going to pummel inside. Notice how he's using his body. He might not be able to do it just if my arms are tight and he's just moving his hand like this. But what he's doing is he's bridging a little bit. There, he's bridging. That's creating some room, and then he's coming in. He's bridging there. He's exaggerating it here, but because he's a black belt, he's doing this instinctively, and he's doing it just enough. So, pummel inside, here and here. All right, now we're in a situation where the arms are flailing, but I no longer have them pinned. It is possible still for me to fake something else and then come flying in with a headbutt. It's probably not going to be as high percentage as the pin, but it's still not a great position. So his next move is to control my posture somehow. Typically, that would be pulling his knees forward and then holding my head down, either with both of his hands on my head, basically pinning it to his chest, or the old overhook with one hand and head control with the other. So hold my head down. Here, I'm turning my head so I can still talk. This is classic. This is proven in many, many MMA competitions. And this is a pretty good position if you're on the bottom in a striking context. I can maybe hit him here a little bit. I can maybe chip away at him a little bit, but I'm unlikely to land the big knockout blow, especially if he's holding my head tight. Hold my head tight, Rich. Yeah, maybe I can pick him up and then hit him a little bit, but I only had about that much distance to generate momentum. It's going to hurt him, might bust his lip up, but it's not going to be the big KO. So ultimately, let's assume that he pummeled inside, he got control with an overhook and maybe a head control, or even an underhook and a head control, but it's still not working out in his favor because I'm still clipping him. He's got to open his guard. You're in closed guard. You don't have to stay in closed guard. See, I got his feet on my hips. I cannot headbutt him here. There's no way I can close this distance here. So just go about, He's either going to simply put a foot on my hip and use that to shrimp away to the side and get his second foot on my hip, or if he can't do that, because I'm pushing too tightly, put a foot on the ground, shrimp away. Now he's made some room. Now that foot can go on the hip, and the other foot can go on the hip. Of course, now the question is, but Stephan, what if he punches me? We addressed that in another video. I believe it was called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, adapted for MMA and self-defense, or the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guard, adapted for MMA and self-defense. There's a link to it here somewhere. Check it out. Then you'll have a defense against punching in the guard, and you've just got a defense against headbutting in the guard. Good question. Thank you for asking it. And that's my answer.